China's partnership with Africa remains strong, focused, and forward-looking as China sets new agenda for Africa. Health Minister signs deal to unlock local manufacturing and supply chain for health. And Nigeria's economy under President Tinubu moving in the right trajectory, Minister of Finance affirms. Hello and welcome to the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24, reaching you live from Abuja. I am Stella Inameti. Thanks for joining us. China once again reinforces its commitment to Africa's growth and development in its carefully embedded plans and agenda, from infrastructure to trade, technology and capacity building. Correspondent Patricia Esamiluba reports that China's partnership with Africa remains strong, focused and forward-looking.
Here in the Great Hall of China in Beijing, the third session of the National People's Congress, NPC, has come to a close with much anticipation on the 11th of March after much discussions and deliberations on 7 items streamed for adoption. Voting on the government's work report, the lawmakers reviewed and voted on the draft resolution regarding the government's performance and future plans. Economic and social development plans, again, votes were held on the implementation of the 2024 plan and the proposed 2025 national and international development strategies. On budget approvals, they also voted on the draft resolution for implementation of the central and the local budgets for 2024 and the proposed financial plan for 2025. These discussions and deliberations will turn into actionable policies where Africa stands poised to benefit from a deepened alliance, ensuring that no nation is left behind in the pursuit of economic transformation and development. This commitment signals a future of shared prosperity, one where collaboration, investment, and mutual respect drives sustainable progress across the African continent. The Chinese government has assured Africa that it will not work alone. Patricia Esamiluva from Beijing, China.
And back in Abuja, Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, says a viable healthcare system that addresses major health issues, including malaria in Nigeria, is central to President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda on health. The minister was speaking at the flag-off event for PVAC, a presidential initiative to enhance the local manufacturing and supply chain management for health commodities and supplies in the country. Professor Pate emphasized the importance of expanding malaria case management, improving access to quality medicines, and enhancing local drug manufacturing.
As we had our Rethinking Malaria effort last year in May, just about 10 months ago, one of the lessons that we took away from that is that we have to domesticate our efforts in the context of Nigeria. And there are things that we do on the vector, on the preventive tools, but case management in particular seems to be one way that we can reduce the burden of disease. And if you look at Lagos, which has now hit pre-elimination stage, large, said very populous urban center, but has achieved remarkable success towards malaria elimination. Part of it is affordability and quality of anti-malaria. We have 7 million graduates. Many of them are still looking for jobs. I saw that when we announced the Health Fellows Program, 360,000 fantastic graduates applied within 1 week. So many of them are now going to be associates, but still it tells you the quality of of what we have. And if we don't engage them, we're actually wasting talent that can fuel the growth of this country.
We really hear Honorable Minister to launch and flag off the NMEP PVAC program. As you know, this is actually a result of a meeting that you had several months ago with when you were reviewing the impact program, and you asked the World Bank and the NMEP team to look at how they can partner and collaborate with PVAC in the areas that we're doing. So we thank you and the World Bank team as well for getting to this point where we signed an MOU with NMEP to implement this program.
The Presidential Initiative for Unlocking the Healthcare Value Chain PVACS event is themed Building the Industry for a Stronger Malaria Response and Resilient Healthcare. Non-governmental organizations and kidney foundations are being urged to support the implementation of Nigeria's newly launched standards and guidelines for organ and tissue transplantation services in the country. Discussing the recently unveiled standards and guidelines on Good Morning Nigeria, medical experts noted that their contributions will be crucial in ensuring the success of these standards and guidelines, which aim to regulate and improve organ tissue donation and transplantation services in Nigeria. Ekemini Williams has the report.
Nigeria's federal government has introduced standards and guidelines to regulate organ and tissue transplantation services, aiming to enhance donation and transplantation practices. The standards and guidelines will establish a national registry and banking system to manage organ and tissue donations and ensure health institutions meet high standards. Medical experts have praised the government's collaborative approach, involving professionals in the field to formulate these standards and guidelines. This move is expected to promote compliance, eliminate malpractices, and weed out unqualified practitioners in the health sector.
This guideline, first of all, it talks about which hospital in the first place is qualified to undertake organ donation. You have to have an X-ray machine, you have to have a CT scan, you have to have at least 2 theaters. We have 4 theaters. If I can count the number of institutions, hospitals that have a CT scan on my fingertip. So that means that we are going to separate the pretenders from those who are really serious.
In the generation of the guidelines, it is what they believed in and what they themselves put in place to guide their practice. Therefore, this ownership of the guideline will encourage compliance.
Experts are calling for a massive awareness campaign to educate Nigerians on the standards and guidelines for organ and tissue transplantation in order to prevent exploitation. They also emphasize the need for collaboration with NGOs and agencies to make the procedure accessible and affordable.
Another thing are individual philanthropists. This can also go a long way in helping. They don't have to give money to the recipient or give money to the donor or give money to individual, but by buying and donating the essential equipment and drugs and reagents needed to facilitate the organ donation, they will now impact on the subsidy on the patient.
Whether it's with the legislative section, we are working together. And as we go along, we also see the need. Whom do we need? Is it NAPTIP? Is it immigration? They were all there at the stakeholders meeting. They are all aware of it. What we need now is sensitization and collaboration with the different agencies.
Medical experts express optimism that the newly unveiled guidelines for organ and tissue transplantation will be implemented in practice, not just remaining on paper. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
Apart from validating ongoing bold economic reforms undertaken by the Tinubu administration, a recent commentary on Nigerian economy offered by Chatham House in its published article represents unbiased indications of the renewed industry capacity of the country. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, stated this in a chat with State House correspondents on the submission of the article, which describes the nation's economy as being most competitive under President Tinubu in the last 25 years.
It makes them more competitive relative to our neighbors, in particular in West Africa and indeed the whole of Africa. So you have Nigerian manufactured exports turning up regularly now, and particularly under the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. Exports of Nigerian manufacturers to Kenya, to Egypt, and to South Africa, amongst other countries. So that's what Chatham House was referring to, the fact that the Nigerian economy is becoming more competitive globally. Soon we will have approximately 1.2 million barrels per day of refining capacity. And so that is adding value to raw materials in Nigeria before exporting or even for domestic use.
The House of Representatives has passed a resolution asking the Central Bank of Nigeria to suspend the implementation of its latest policy, increasing charges for automated teller machine withdrawals. Adopting a motion of urgent public importance, the House emphasized that imposing 100 naira ATM withdrawal charge on consumers without corresponding improvement in service delivery is unjustified.
Worried that the imposition of additional ATM withdrawal charges will further limit the financial inclusion of Nigerians by discouraging low-income earners from accessing bank services, thereby contradicting the CBN financial inclusion agenda.
Another resolution, the House has set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the vandalization of oil and gas pipelines across the country. This move is to curb further economic losses in the sector.
Shell reported an oil spill near Port Harcourt caused by an overflow during pipeline flushing operations, highlighting ongoing risks in pipeline management. Recognize that recurring pipeline breaches have led to extensive environmental degradation, loss of livelihoods, and substantial national revenue losses.
This motion is referred to another committee to be constituted in due course.
National Assembly correspondent Mitairi Ikben reports that the report of the House Committee on Finance on the 4 tax reform bills has been submitted at plenary. The news desk at 6 is reaching you on NTA News 24. More reports in a moment. Stay with us.
Introducing Clean, the National Orientation Agency's AI voice and text assistant. For easy access to up-to-date information on government policies, programs, and activities, National Orientation Agency, NOA, introduces AI voice and text assistant. Log on to www.noa.gov.ng. Click on the Clean icon and ask away. Hello Clean. What are the federal government programs on agriculture?
Federal government policies on agriculture. 1. Dry Season Farming Initiative. Objective: to increase food production and ensure food security by utilizing irrigation systems for farming during the dry season. Scope: the initiative aims to cover 7,000 hectares across various states in Nigeria.
Access Clean by visiting the National Orientation Agency's website at www.noa.gov.ng.
Thanks for staying with us. Nigeria and China are set to collaborate on a partnership to boost the tourism and creative sectors. The partnerships aim to strengthen ties between the two nations, unlocking new opportunities for growth, innovation, and cultural exchange. This collaboration will allow Nigerian artists to tap into the Chinese market, where there is a growing demand for Nigerian music. The partnership will also focus on tech development, including animation, incubation programs for young creatives, and streamlined visa processes for stakeholders in tourism and the creative sectors. Nigeria's Minister of Art, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musa Musawa, welcomed the partnership proposal, assuring China of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to expanding bilateral ties and economic growth, with the creative sector contributing 4% to Nigeria's economy and a target of $100 billion in investment. This partnership is expected to yield significant benefits for both nations. The Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria has affirmed that Shehu Mohammed remains its national president. The union, in a statement issued by the Secretary General, Joshua Apebo, emphasized that Shehu Mohammed was duly elected the national president of the union on Monday, 12th August 2024, with other members of the Central Working Committee during the 5th Quadrennial National Delegates Conference held in Lagos. This followed the completion of the tenure of former President Innocent Bola Audu on 29th July 2024. The statement says, though the union had court issues with the former president, it withdrew its case after the National Industrial Court of Nigeria demanded that he should be allowed to complete his time in office, which he did. The union restated that withdrawal of the cases in court should not be in any way interpreted to mean that Bola Innocent Audu is recognized as the president of the association. Bayelsa State government is inviting investors to tap into its vast economic potential, rich natural resources, and strategic location, making it an ideal time to invest in the state. Discussing good governance and development in Bayelsa State on NTA's Good News and Current Affairs program, Good Morning Nigeria, technical advisor on communication and strategy to Bayelsa State Governor, Dr. Evarada Abednego Don, says the state government is actively courting investors, focusing on security and reliable power sources to create a conducive business environment in the state.
We can do it, and we also need expertise from folks from afar, which means we need to encourage investors to come to our state. For us to get that right, first is to do security, which we are saying, bragging, we've got it right. The next thing is building critical infrastructure that will take routes to the depth of the Atlantic, which is really where the depth of the wealth under the sea is. That is what we are doing. We are also saying that because we want investors to come, they are not going to come with generative plants and start burning diesel. What they're going to do is to rely on a dependable power source. And that's why the state government has just recently paid for 2 turbines. This thing is going to be installed in a few months. In 2 months it will be delivered. It has been paid totally. And then the groundwork is being done. And the governor has assured the people, the critical stakeholders, investors who came here to do the business with us, have all assured the state that this job is going to be done by the end of this year. Bayelsa State is going to have 24/7 light.
He says a significant step in this direction is the recent purchase of 2 turbines, which will provide 60 megawatts of electricity and will be installed within the next few months. This move is expected to provide 24/7 electricity by the end of the year, making Bayelsa State an attractive destination for investors. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, says Nigeria's trade beyond its borders is critical to the country's economic growth and development. Alika Opanachi Aruwa reports that the minister stated this at the Women-Led Businesses tagged her showcase event in Abuja.
In pursuit of global market integration and trading beyond the borders, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, initiated a partnership with International Trade Center, ITC, to promote mutual economic growth between the two countries. Taking the initiative to the next level, Executive Director and CEO, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Nonye Ayeni, believes that the partnership will also focus on promoting trans-border trades, which involve connecting Nigerian businesses with buyers and investors in other countries.
We're here to support you. Whichever trade fairs you want to go to, around Africa or around the world, let us know. We'll be there with you.
We have also embarked on certification. I'm sure some of you have started benefiting from certification. In the last 2 months, we've done about 105, and we've embarked on another 105.
This strategic alliance, according to stakeholders, will also provide a platform for skill acquisition, knowledge sharing, networking to succeed in global trade.
If women in trade are unleashed, we can diversify the economy away from oil and achieve a great leap forward. Women in politics, it's well evident, more women in political life can increase a country's GDP by 10 to 20%.
Standing here, I'm a beneficiary of the ITC Sheet Trade Program. We recently just came back from Zimbabwe. I think the government is doing their best. We want more, but as it is, they are doing well.
The event, a testament to the power of women entrepreneurs and international trade, also featured the display of diverse range of products, from fashion and textiles to food, beverages and vegetables. The collaboration as part of events to mark International Women's Day also aim to increase women participation in politics and gender equality. In Abuja, Alika Opanachi, Arua, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Minister of Works, Senator Dave Umahi, has commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for providing funds for the rehabilitation and reconstruction of the Aba axis of the Enugu Port Harcourt dual carriageway. Senator Umahi gave the commendation after inspecting the ongoing project, where he expressed satisfaction with the progress made so far. Ifoma Ndukoli reports.
The rehabilitation of the Enugu Port Harcourt dual carriageway is a significant project aimed at improving connectivity and facilitating economic growth in the southeast. The minister, during the inspection, announced that the project, when completed, will, among other things, help to ease the traffic congestion in about the commercial nerve center of the southeast zone. While commending President Bola Tinubu for his interest in improving the infrastructure in the southeast, Senator Umahi appealed to residents to show their appreciation by supporting the initiatives of the present administration.
This project has been reviewed by Mr. President, and adequate funding provision is being made in 2024 and 2025 budgets, and even those more, but Sukuk is also assisting them. So the problem is not going to be funding.
With the project completion set for June 2025, residents and commuters say they look forward to a safer and more efficient travel experiences.
The road is very fine. Even the blind man can use hand, touch for the road and know that the road is very fine now.
This present time now, the 2025, the road now is so nice, and I like it. And I said that the government knew this present government now, let them continue their good work.
The minister also commended the Abia State government for restricting trading activities along the road during the rehabilitation exercise. In Umuahia, Ifoma Nduokolie, NTA News.
The Supreme Court has dismissed the appeal of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its governorship candidate, Agbola Ajayi, challenging the qualification of Ondo State Governor Lucky Orimison Ayedatiwa to contest the November 16, 2024 governorship election. In a unanimous verdict by the Apex Court's panel of justices, Justice Garba Lawal, who read the lead judgment, maintained that the appeal was baseless, frivolous, and lacking in merit. The Apex Court upheld the concurrent judgments of the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal on the disputed qualifications. Ajayi, the appellant, had sought to nullify Ayedatiwa's victory, accusing the governor's deputy, Olaide Wolabi Adelami, of forgery, impersonation, and using a false identity. The appeal, which was a pre-election matter, was statute barred as the suit was filed at the Federal High Court out of time. And that's the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Stella Inameti.